I didn't get it, you know? So, it just doesn't get better. It doesn't get better. I asked for help from everywhere. I have a list of about, I think I counted last night, I didn't finish, of about 30 places that I reached out to. From the Children's Law Center to the domestic, the Coalition Against Domestic Violence. They're big. They're big. Well, in Wyoming, they didn't want to talk to me. They said they'd help me, and then all of a sudden they didn't want to help me. Because that's the problem when your stepfather is a trust fund attorney. And he handles everybody's money. They're afraid. He's really rich. And that is so important, right? Money. Because that's what this whole thing is over, right? It's all over money. So, my stepfather has to be the most diabolical perpetrator I've ever seen in my life. And nobody believes me. But I don't care. Because I know it. Because why would anybody take your children away from you and not tell you? You know? And why would they make you sign a last will and testament 2 years prior? Why does it mention having an estate in your divorce paperwork that you never knew about because it was a default divorce? Everything that's happened, I started digging and I realized I'm rich. No, I'm not. Still living in Hawaii. I don't really care about money. I was raised by rich parents and I just came sick. I don't really care. You know, I like to shop though. You know, but the thing is that my grandfather was a very smart man, and he bought some property up in the Medicine Bow Forest. Mining lands. Wyoming is rich and full of minerals. And he knew that, and so he kept it in his pocket. Like his money-making machine, he used to tell me, you know? And when he died, he left it to somebody. So what kind of a victim is that now? Because they took everything from me, you know? They hid it from my entire family. And I can tell you that I go through every single one of these files and I keep thinking to myself, if I would have done something else and been more aware of trust fund law and estate law and law in general, I wouldn't be here, right? But they waited for the right time. They knew that I was being abused. My parents knew that. I had bruises all over me. Every day. They didn't do anything. They wanted you to kill me. I'm pretty sure. I know my stepfather didn't use count now. It's easy, right? You know? Especially when you commit fraud. It's so unbelievable. Sometimes I think I'm like, I need to make an ethics or something. It's crazy. Who does this?
Can you speak a little louder?
Who does this? But they did. I can speak loud, I promise.
Thank you.
So, I've reached the end of the road. This is it. This is the last day I am an invisible victim. I decided that. Today is the day I'm done. I'm not invisible anymore, am I? I'm at one of the biggest conventions for victim services in the country. You know how I did that? By accident. I started filling out my application. And I was like, I don't workshop present. I don't even know what that means. That's what I told them. I said I could just come and talk, but turns out they liked what I said. Turns out I can speak. I can talk a lot. I mean, I talk. But I'm not invisible anymore. I won't let myself be invisible because I'm Batman. And I don't care what anybody says. So I have a goal in mind, and it's at the end of this, you know, I want victims' rights to be in the Constitution in Wyoming with my 400,000 people. Because we have some of the highest crime rates. Well, duh, we have 100 people. And we're bored. You know? That's what we do. We drink and drive, you know? And kill people. Victims. They're bored. Let's beat each other up. Victims. Let's take each other's money. Victims. I actually come from a long line of murderers. My great uncle, he killed a man with his bare hands. He mom's an attempted murderer, so I come from a long line of people that will just take down. It's Wyoming. It's not unheard of. Sorry, we don't find it weird. I was raised to be a fighter, and I was raised to survive. But I wasn't raised to be inhuman. And the people that I've met that wrote me that, I mean, there's more. I mean, I can tell you every entity in town that would tell me they would help, and they never helped me. Nobody helped me.
Thank you for coming today and sharing.
No problem.
And like I find myself sitting here thinking, tell us what, as providers, we can do, because we are all
I know.
structured by different boundaries, whatever, that seem to be a struggle for you and others in your shoes.
Yeah.
So help us, tell us what you would have liked to have heard from us when we can't be the ones to help you.
I have one. You guys have the power to do amazing things. I am so in awe of the one thing that has found, I mean, we were talking about it last night. Tell me the good things in the past couple years. So you're right, there is something you can do. It's pretty amazing. So I'm going to tell you about Zenith.
You're going to tell us what?
Zenith. I'm going to tell you about a guy named Zenith.
Oh.
Zenith is who I think is a perfect example of what you should do. Zenith is an attorney in my town, and he's young, we're the same age. And I wrote every attorney in town, okay? He listened to me. He didn't tell me I was crazy, even though I know he thought it. He still thinks that, by the way. He sent me a thing about Alice and Mad Hatter. He thinks I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. But he saw something. He actually could prosecute in federal law, so he studied that, and he knows in federal law this is all legal. It's illegal and wrong. And he knew that, and he saw that, and he saw somebody who just needed some help. And I know you guys see those people all the time. And he listened to me, even though he's out there with his eyeballs. He goes, she is so crazy. But he saw something else. I showed him a video, and I have a ton of these videos. I did a video blog of what was happening to me at the time, and I showed him one of me and my son. And my son disclosed something on camera. And he reported it. And he called me, and he talked to me for an hour. Now, how much? Attorneys are expensive. He took an hour out of his day to talk to me about it and tell me that he believed me. And then after this whole, he's taught, this 2 weeks ago, I called him and told him, and he was like, yeah, but if I show it to him, when he looks at it, he sees it. So just look at it. That's it. It's so simple. Listen, I can't put 5 thoughts together sometimes. I go from here to there. I'm ADD, ADHD, victim, trauma, crazy person. I am the perfect person to dissect. And that's what I want to do, is give myself to victim services and say, please ask me questions. Please, so we can help people, because I am crazy. I can't think straight, I can't focus, and I can't function like normal people do. But that doesn't mean that I don't deserve some help.
So if the program you're reaching out to, because of their
I've reached out to every
preset boundaries as to what they can provide,
they could at least treat you with respect.
absolutely.
And that was the biggest thing for me, was the respect. And maybe give me something besides a phone number.
So
Right?
were referrals helpful to you? Did you find that did you find that a positive response? How did you feel when
I think
referrals
meeting
were
with a
offered?
person is one thing. That's huge. So instead of sending an impersonal email, because sometimes there's nothing you can do.
Right.
I know. I worked as a detox treatment specialist for 3.5 years. I worked in human services before I was all beaten up. And you know what was the most amazing thing about that is that I was really good at it, because I would go outside and smoke cigarettes with them. And we would talk. Take off your mask and be yourself. Talk about what you went through. Why are you in victim services? Tell me that there's a reason. Please. There's gotta be. Because nobody wants to do this for fun. Really? You know, I know that, you know? And if you are doing it for fun, well, you're in the wrong field, because it isn't fun. It's heartbreaking to hear some of the things I think you guys have heard. Be yourself, and just take it off and say, I wish there was more I could do, but sit with them and tell them that. Be personable. I'm never looking for anybody to solve the problem. I did solve my problem. I did it myself with Zenith and a couple of other people, like a doctor that was a psychologist, and she is very ill right now, and she's dying. And she believed me. And she stood up for me. You know, I had few people that did stand up for me, but when they did, my God, what a difference they made. I'm here talking to you because of it. That's why. I didn't need anybody to fix me. I'm unfixable. I'm willing to have anybody dissect me as a human experiment. I'm going to donate my brain to science, I believe. But you cannot fix me. But you can help me. By just listening. And just being yourself. We all have stories. We're all walking paths. You know, I am no special person. I am just me. You know, and those people that actually listen to me have changed my world. There was a lady from CPS who told me, I can't help you. That was the first time I heard that, but actually it meant something. She says, you are a good mother. You don't need me. I don't need to be here. See, now when DFS and CPS says that we don't need to be here, that's a good thing. I love DFS in Wyoming. They have stood by my side. They stood up in court for me too, and got my kid back for me. You know, the judge that finally listened did a 38-page judgment in my case, and he pointed out every constitutional right that was violated, and he gave me a way to sue them all when I need another lawyer and pay off the one I got. I don't really care about the money, but I do care about people's rights. And so if you do, that's a great question. How do you get there? How do you get these people to talk to you? Because I know for me, it was really hard to talk to anybody. I talk now. I don't shut up. But I'm different. I know that for 2 years I didn't say much. I know what it feels like to feel like you're buried alive and no one can hear you. I wish they would have put a bell. But you guys have the opportunities to do something amazing. Be Batman. Just do it. When that signal goes, go. When you're sleeping at night in your nice warm bed and you know that someone needs your help, get up. Take time out of your vacation, I guess. Come on. It's really simple. You know? I cannot believe that the things that have been told to me. I'm like, really, dude? Really? I know that what I want for victim services might not happen today, but it can happen tomorrow. And I have a very positive outlook on life. I don't know why. Because I think that we underestimate the power of just talking. You know? How powerful is it to just talk and find a solution to the problem? And so, if maybe the director of victim services, she told me that she couldn't even give me a phone number because she didn't have her Rolodex. That's good. You can't give me a phone number, that's good. But could you have maybe set up a time and said, will you please come to my office and let me talk to you about victims' compensation and victim services. And these are my limitations. And she did tell me that the Wyoming statutes prevent her from helping me. They do, because my application was already in archives. I went to archives, not there. The guy was so mad. He says, he calls him on the phone, your application's in victim services. What? Go the extra mile and find the damn application. And if it really truly isn't there, then tell them the truth. You know? Okay, now what? That's out of the way. You can't do that. Gotta go to it. You know? There's always another path that you can take. right? A better one, I think. I would think so. So, I mean, if anybody can think of something else, that's a better plan than nothing else, right? So I think people just need to start talking about it. You know, I mean, between all the people in this room, you can't tell me that you can't find a solution. I know that there's about 1 billion programs out there. Hey Heather, go back to school. They'll pay for you to go to school. Then maybe you can get some loans. You can get something. You can get something. It doesn't matter. There's always another path because I found it. I found a millionaire, and I'm standing right here. I won, and nobody said I would. My 2 children are home. They're all messed up, and I love them. But just telling me there's nothing you can do, bullshit. Excuse my language. There's something you can do. Somebody can do something. If that means just sitting and having coffee with me, you know, telling me that it wasn't for nothing. No one's going to make that guy spend 80 years in prison, but I bet, you know, there's somebody out there that could investigate it a little bit better. 100%. I don't think when you're working, you know, and even when you're not. When you take your mask on, you take your mask on. That's your job. That's what you do. You know, this is what I do. You know, I woke up this morning and I had, like I said, I had this great presentation. And I looked at my fiance and I said, this is what I do. This is who I am. But I am not an invisible victim. I love this word, polyvocality. Polyvictim. I don't like that word. Polyvocality means to basically use your research. So whoever you're studying needs to be in your research question development. You know, you want to hear from many different voices to be able to come to a solution. It's hard to get victims to talk. But what happens when they do? When you sit down one-on-one with them and they start talking and we start listening. So the victim services people and the victims get together and they come up with a plan to help people. Because whether or not you've been beaten or stabbed doesn't have anything to do with victim services. You know? You're not supposed to understand what everybody feels. I don't know what you've been through. Or you. But if you told me and I listened to you, then I would get a feeling for it, right? It's really like the most frustrating thing is when people just don't listen, you know? So I can open it up for some questions if anybody has questions, but I really would like to show you at least one of my videos that I made when I started this thing. And actually, you watch me deteriorate on camera because I had to shave off half my hair. I'm really sick. I don't know if it's thyroid or if I only have one kidney pretty soon. But as I started this journey, I had lots of hair. And I wasn't so tired. And I love to paint, and I have been featured all over the place, and I love what I do. But when I was faced with my own mortality, I realized one thing. I didn't get to do what I wanted to do, and I'm going to get those rights in that freaking Constitution in Wyoming, I tell you what. I don't care. And if not, then my son's going to do it, and he's not going to be happy about it. And he's usually with me, but he decided this time he was going to sit out. So if anybody ever wants to watch these, and they're pretty, I'm not saying they're great, okay, I'm not Steven Spielberg. I have an incognito name. My name is Emma Swan. If you've ever watched Once Upon a Time. Victim. And I actually haven't done anything with these because I didn't tell anybody about it because I didn't know what I was going to do with them. But if you look somewhere, oh, there you go. So this is video 1. And I figured, why don't I just play it for you guys, you know, and see what you think. But I think that they're really important because they're raw. I usually wear a lot of makeup and I'm usually flamboyant. Well, I took it all off, took the mask off. So this was April 2018.
So I figured I would start making a vlog about what I'm going through. My name is Heather. I am 33 years old and I am a victim. I have a huge task on my hands that I've been dealing with by myself. I don't know if anybody else knows what this is like, but I have been basically re-victimized, and I don't know if anybody else knows what that means, but I do. But you realize that it's not that much of a prize. I think that people glorify something that shouldn't be glorified. But that's probably because they may not understand what it's like to be victimized. I was beaten pretty bad and stabbed in front of my children. And the city where I live in, I've lived here pretty much my whole life, and so it's one of those towns where you think, ooh, she did it to herself, or all kinds of things. We made the news, and so he likes to run his mouth about all kinds of things, and people believed him. And until now, I haven't really known why, but I do, because they just aren't there. So I decided that maybe it's time to talk about maybe the process of what I'm going through, because maybe eventually somebody will see this and maybe it'll help them. I don't know. But so far, I found out about a year ago that I didn't really have custody of my own kids. It happens to be that my stepfather is an attorney in this town. He's a trust attorney, so he handles everybody's money. So he has some pretty big pull, and it's always worked in my favor up until now. But it's pretty horrific to think, and scary to think, that people can get away with whatever they want. And it's not just the felon that went to prison for stabbing you and beating you. It's the lawyer who you see every day, who is supposed to be a high standing person in this community, and he knows what he's doing. And he's keeping my son from me. He's also damaged my other son, who, poor guy, he's lost, and I'm partly to blame for that. I put him in the situation where he had to see violence at a very young age, and he protected his brother, and he saw some horrific things, and nobody really cares but me. So I'm fighting every day for him and for my other son, who now has become another victim in another way, because he's a victim of a child custody dispute, and I've tried everything to prevent it, but I have to fight. He's my son. It's been almost 365 days that I've seen him once, for no reason. There's no reason for this, except for other people's selfish motives. There's no reason. I'm a fit parent. I go to work. I have insurance. I can feed my children. I can clothe my children. I love my children, and they both know it. They're exceptional. They're both gifted. Both get good grades. So, despite the fact that I may have not always been the best mom, I did okay. And now I'm jumping through hoops in a court system without a lawyer because I can't afford one. And I know that there's help out there, but trying to find it. I live in Wyoming. Wyoming's never actually adopted any sort of laws, really, they have laws for victims, but not really, because they get violated all the time. So far, I have an entire file, but I was trying to make a list last night of how many places I've reached out for help in the last 6 months, mind you. I have been turned down by legal aid because I make too much. They'll, for some reason, count my boyfriend's income. I was turned down by Modest Means, which is a program for people who don't qualify for legal aid, because they wouldn't count my boyfriend's income, which is quite weird. Even though they said they wouldn't. The Coalition of Domestic Violence turned me down. They were going to take my case, but then all of a sudden they couldn't take my case. There was one of the highest, two high-standing law firms have turned me down in this town. One citing conflict of interest, I get that. One said she just wasn't interested. There's also personal injury lawyers, some of the best in the state, turn me down. I have actually reached out to 3 or 4 different attorneys in Colorado, turn me down. I'm talking like your late night commercial attorneys, turn me down. I actually reached out to a couple of nationwide attorneys, turn me down. Children's Law Center, never heard back from them people. I reached out to Victims Compensation. That was a joke. Basically, they were like, we don't owe you nothing, even though I was fired from a job and I was trying to amend an application. All these Wyoming statutes that I know that they can actually bypass certain things, they don't care. My son, they don't care. He's a victim of a crime, who gives a shit? From the director of Victim Services basically told me to go kick rocks. I reached out to the National Organization for Victims Assistance. They referred me to somebody else, to somebody else, to somebody else, to somebody else. The U.S. Attorney's Office, I did talk to the victim coordinator. She was wonderful. I accidentally gave her the wrong number because my brain's been freaking fried. But no, I think I actually have a TBI, which is something called traumatic brain injury. That's a whole nother blog day. But she couldn't do anything. I think she would reach out for the coalition and still haven't heard from her again. Big surprise. And I just recently reached out to the University of Wyoming for their law clinic. That literally is just what I can remember. That's not all. I'm a victim, and no one will help me. It's really, really sad, and I hope that if you're out there and you're having the same problems, you know, I guess I could tell you not to give up, but I can't even tell myself that half the time. I'm angry, I'm mad, I'm not even really mad about the whole victimization. I'm mad about the fact that no one will listen, and that I want my son back. And my parental rights have been violated. I mean, who violates this many laws and nobody does anything? What's wrong with society is that they say that there's help. There's no help. There's no help. But there is one thing. It's called grit, and I've got it. And I had a grandfather who taught me a whole heck of a lot about it. And it must be the Irish in me, it must be the street kid in me, I don't know. But I'm not going to win. So, this is Heather. Usually I go by my artist name, Blue Lady, but this is me. Letting everybody know that, you know, I'm gonna fight. And I will document every step of the way from now on. And hopefully maybe in the end it might help somebody. So here comes another day of phone calls and being let down. But I'm not gonna give up. I'm gonna get my son back, and I'm going to bring this case as far as I can bring it, because it's what's right, and it's American, and for crying out loud, I might as well. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes.
So I won.
So,
I
I
won.
figured I would.
And I got him back. And I did it with 1,000 boxes and files. And with probably colored hair and eyeshadow and a lot of spunk and tenacity. And so, because I had certain people that listened. And you can go on that channel and watch. I'm uploading more because there's just tons. Because a lot of stuff happens that I didn't expect. Like, I'm not going to say anything. You're going to have to go find out. Because the story's not over. Because today, my victim's manifesto ends today. I'm a polyvocalist. So I'm going to start something new. And I'm going to go, now that I've got my kids back, and I'm going to go and make people be responsible. And I'm going to go and try to help people. Because what the hell am I going to do with this giant file? I could burn it. Nah. I think it's time to let people see it. So I was working on a book, and I was going to sell it. But I just, I get lost, but it's coming. So I will actually let you know. You can always email me. But I came up with a website from Victims Manifesto. It's on Wix. It's free. I'm working on it. If anybody wants to know what it is, you can email me, and I will email it right now. I will answer. I am always okay with questions. Come and ask anything you ever want to ask, any time of the day. Victim services is more than just your job. It's my job now. I'm responsible now. Because I decided to speak. So now I take responsibility for what I need to do. And if that means help you, then let's do it. I'm totally down. I'm going to tell you that you will watch some profanity and maybe some things that aren't technically, professional. But it's real. And it really happened. I'm really glad that I started videoing it, and I watched myself deteriorate on camera, and watching that, though, and where I am now, I kicked ass. And it felt so good. Because I don't even have an associate's degree. And he had 4 lawyers. And I did actually 8 months pro se. I have no idea what I was doing. Like I did today. But I just do it, right? So, you may not know what you're doing, but you can do it. Any questions? Anything?
I'd just like to make some comments.
Okay.
Because I worked in victim services in Colorado for 9+ years. I ran a sexual assault crisis program in Weld County. And then I moved to Wyoming. And I live in the Jackson area, and I've been there for 15 years. I don't know your story. And I know it's really hard for a lot of people to hear. I know it's reality for a lot of people who live outside of Colorado or other states who have very strong victim rights and victim compensation systems. We're lucky in Colorado to have the networks that we have, to have the systems, to have the understanding. It is not like that in Wyoming. And I was talking with a friend of mine who was trying to get counseling paid for by victim compensation for a victim survivor who lived in Texas. Texas has no mechanism for referring victim survivors to counselors and making sure that victim comp is who's paying for that service. There's not anything at all. And I know that when I was
legislature.
Right, you know, and that's, the ultimate goal, you never know, you might see me in that legislature one day. My grandma's in it, so you never know. I think I have that politician gene in me, you know? And plus I like to see them off. I just don't go away, I'm like that fly. But yes, I do like reaching out to other victims, and I do it a lot. And like I said, I have an entire file of places that I reached out to. Victims are part of it. So, I'm willing to reach out anywhere for anything, you know. I guess for me, I'm just now getting over a hump.